Greetings, my fellow fear and sovereign thinkers. Thank you for tuning in to LE3 Podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful land of enchantment. And today's date is Thursday, April 16th, 2020. Yep, decided doing the show this evening. It will be a short one for sure. And I just got this from the Miami Herald. It's written by David Smiley. It's entitled, Florida Blocks COVID-19 Information from Public as Governor Ron DeSantis touts transparency. This just got updated like an hour and 36 minutes ago. That's really what he has to say. And of course, this is a unlimited access. So if you want to get more about the whole coronavirus newsletter for the Miami Herald, you click there. Not really too crazy about them at times. However, always observe responsibly. This is what they had to say here. Mr. Smiley has to say, when the Miami Herald sought information from the Miami-Dade Examiner's Office last month about COVID-19 deaths in the epicenter of Florida's coronavirus outbreak, attorneys for the state health department moved to block the records from becoming public. Emails and phone conferences appointments obtained through a public record request show that while medical examiners across Florida had already released details about deaths in their counties, attorneys for the state spent more than a week trying to convince their counterparts in Miami-Dade County not to provide information to the Herald. As we discussed, it is the Department of Health's position that the information requested in the request below should not be released as is confidential and exempt for public records disclosure. Christine Lamia, Deputy General Counsel for the Health Department, wrote in April 2nd to the Assistant Miami-Dade County Attorney, Christopher Angel, hopefully I pronounced that person's name correctly. The Herald, which intends to use the information to inform its reporting, obtained the information Thursday after the county blocked Florida's Department of Health, but the episode is an example of how the administration of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis often and has been willing or unable to provide crucial information about its coronavirus response, and at times has actively tried to shield critical details about the depths of the crisis from becoming public. We must have accurate information to make decisions to care for loved ones and to get the other side of this COVID-19 crisis with any trust in government. First Amendment Foundation President Pamela Marsh wrote in a critical op-ed ran Wednesday in the Daytona Beach News Journal. In recent weeks, Florida's Agency for Healthcare Administration has refused to name the nursing homes experiencing coronavirus outbreaks, even as the number of cases in long-term care facilities has passed 1,300. The Department of Corrections had until Wednesday to decline to acknowledge 2 inmate COVID-19 deaths at a privately run prison, which is interesting about the whole privately run prison, but they're like, if I'm correct, they'd be like Geo Group, or I don't know, one was Geo Group, another one was wow, I always miss these names. But there's a couple of them, at least there's 2 of them that are managing this whole public-private enterprise. Respectively, it can be considered unconstitutional under Article 7, Section 10. I just gotta look at these again. So I'm just guessing, but if I do remember, it's Article 7, Section 10. I could be mistaken, but I'll continue on here. Of the Florida Constitution. And the Department of Health has been unwilling to disclose the extent of an undefined backlog of unresolved coronavirus tests at private labs. In some cases, the lack of detail has appeared unintentional. DeSantis said Wednesday that he himself had been unable to get information about how many people have received unemployment checks from the Department of Economic Opportunity. By Thursday, DeSantis put the number claims at around 33,000, with the state reporting a backlog of more than 800,000. But the state's secrecy has led to increasing criticism from Democrats and transparency advocates. So who say DeSantis is keeping critical information under wraps at a time when people need to know more about what's happening in order to make informed decisions about their lives and livelihoods. Openness, helpfulness, honesty, is that what we want from our government in a crisis, Marsh said Thursday in an interview. DeSantis has pushed back against criticism of the state's transparency. This week, following a Miami Herald article, noted that the state has remained silent about the extent of a backlog of pending results from private labs and data released twice daily to the public. DeSantis said Florida is arguably providing more information than any other state. Generally, Florida's data and website, there's more data put out on a daily basis by Florida's Department of Health than anywhere, DeSantis said during a Monday press conference. In some cases, the state provides information down to granular levels, such as emergency room admissions for cough-related symptoms and the demographics of the state's 23,000 cases. On the state's interactive dashboard, people can find out how many people in their county have been admitted to the hospital for COVID-19 and how many confirmed cases exist in their zip code, although the latter is questionable accuracy. But since the state's first confirmed coronavirus case, officials have kept some basic information confidential. Most notable, DeSantis has chosen not to reveal the names of nursing homes experiencing outbreaks. Cases that, according to the Florida Department of Health, have resulted at least 126 deaths. Remember, maybe most of those individuals in those homes had compromised immune systems. That's what I'm saying. It's starting to become pretty well documented that we have a transparency problem with our nursing home industry, said incoming Florida Senate Democrat leader Gary Farmer. But he flip-flops on his oath of office as well, so he should just really keep his mouth shut. But I'm going to continue on here. During a conference call with Florida Democrats, Bill Sowers, president for the Florida Alliance for Retired Americans, told reporters Thursday that the refusal to release information about nursing homes leaves families able to entrust their loved ones are safe inside assisted living facilities. All the secrecy and stuff that the government is trying to pull off here, it doesn't lend to itself to being a trusting system, Sowers says. This week, DeSantis says strike teams of the National Guardsmen will begin testing at dozens of nursing homes, but the health department has ignored questions about which nursing homes would be subject to the test. The Department of Corrections had also refused to acknowledge inmates' deaths or provide details of the testing inmates at state facilities on Wednesday, after the News Service of Florida reported that 2 inmates at the Blackwater River Correctional Facility, a privately run prison in the Florida Panhandle. The publication obtained the information through a Santa Rosa County Medical Examiner's Office. Data that the state has argued should not be released to the public on the grounds that COVID-19 death information obtained by medical examiners' offices falls under the state epidemiological investigation. So maybe COVID-19 death-related information, but the way I'm looking at it is not really official, but we're just guessing. In Miami-Dade, the medical examiner's office turned over data Thursday on coronavirus-related deaths to the Miami Herald. The office made public the names, ages, and dates and the places of death for all 178 people who died as of Wednesday afternoon from the coronavirus. The Herald and other news outlets, however, are planning to file suit against the state to obtain the names of the nursing homes with coronavirus outbreaks. The Herald found a new law firm to represent the news organizations after DeSantis' general counsel pressured Holland & Knight to drop the case. Interesting. So Holland & Knight. Yeah, I know who these individuals are. I've seen them represent a lawsuit many years. I'll say about good 16 years ago to be exact. Oh yeah. That'll be a different story. The firm has sent a standard 5-day notification letter to the state informing DeSantis of the Herald's plans to file a lawsuit. Families, Florida lawmakers, and first responders have also urged the state to release the names of the nursing homes with confirmed cases. Given what we're facing, I just think we have to get past the old ways of doing things and open the flow of information. Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood, who has called for the state to make the information public, wrote Tuesday on Facebook. Testing for the virus remains on one of the most critical issues facing the state, but the Florida Department of Health has yet to provide contracts with private labs that have done the bulk of the work in Florida. And in 4 days, it has been unable to provide details about a backlog of private testing results, which experts say could help epidemiologists map out the forecasts that have helped governments track the spread of the virus, prepare hospitals for potential surges, and inform decisions about when it becomes safe to remove social distancing and other precautions. What we need is a complete picture of all tests and the results. Otherwise, it's like flagging by instruments, but the instruments haven't been plugged in yet, said Kenneth Goodman, director of the University of Miami Institute of Bioethics and Health Policy. Is all about the data. So they do have some merit, the Herald, on this matter, because we're gonna do a little reading here pertaining to the Sunshine Law, they call it. And first, we'll just hit Article 1, Section 24 of the Florida Constitution. We're going to hit subsection A. And it says access to public records and meetings. Okay, every person has the right to inspect or copy any public record made or received in a connection with official business of any public body, officer, or employee of the state or persons acting on their behalf, except with respect to records exempted pursuant to this section or specifically made confidential by this Constitution. This section specifically includes legislative, executive, judicial branches of government, each agency and department created thereunder, counties, municipalities, and districts, and each constitutional officer, board, commission, or entity created pursuant to law of this Constitution. So, like when you look at confidential stuff, confidential, like the concealed weapons permits, evaluations, okay, so like and so a few other things that's considered highly sensitive. Okay, that's like the term I learned when I read about rights to grievances and so forth. Just to give you the highly sensitive data is considered confidential material. And based on what I read here in this article, it has like I say this, the Governor DeSantis and the Department of Health, they have, and all those constitutional entities have no merit, because there's nothing really highly confidential about it, unless they had something like, hey, it's not officially, it's still being investigated, but based on this, they're doing a little bit more, say, half-ass. So I'm going to look at here. It says, chapter, Title 19, Public Business, Chapter 286, Public Business, Miscellaneous Provisions. So this is a nice long one, but I'm just gonna, just look at everything here. I'm not gonna go over it in its entirety, but a few areas I'm gonna look at. And interesting here about public meetings and records, public inspection, criminals and civil penalties, which is the Florida Statute 286.011, and subsection 1 reads, all meetings of any board or commission of any state agency or authority, or of any agency or authority of any county, municipal corporation, or political subdivision, except as otherwise provided in the Constitution. All right, including meetings with or attended by any person elected to such a board or commission meeting, but who has not yet taken office, at which official acts are to be taken, are declared to be public meetings open to the public at all times, and no resolution, rule, or formal action shall be considered binding, taken, or as made at such meetings. The board commission must provide reasonable notice of all such meetings. And it's interesting here about these meetings because they're all part of the same institution. All right, and it says here about subsection 2, the minutes of any meeting or such any board or commission such as or of such agency or authority shall be promptly recorded, and such record shall be open to public inspection. The circuit courts of the state shall have jurisdiction to issue injunctions to enforce the purposes of this section upon application by any citizen of this state. While there's no injunctions, no due process on this whatsoever, right? And this is what Section 3A has to say in the statute. Any public officer who violates any provision of this section is guilty of a non-criminal infraction punishable by fine not exceeding $500. And we go on B. Any person who is a member of a board or commission or of any state agency or authority of any county, municipal, corporation, or political subdivision who is knowingly violates a provision of this section by attending a meeting not be held in accordance with the provisions is hereof guilty of a misdemeanor of a second degree, punishable as provided by statute 775082 or 775083. Those are the statutes. Let's see what they have to say about that. I'm just gonna look. Based on that, on these certain infractions, it could be sentencing. They're considered misdemeanors, so they'll give you sentencing guidelines right down here. Let's just check this out, but it may be the same thing. 775 or 773. So let's hit what 775.02A2 has to say. Oh yeah, so yeah, these are mainly prison terms, but anything on misdemeanors, let's just find out. Wow. Okay, we're just gonna head back here. But it looks like it may be $500 fine, but they got certain sentencing guidelines. That's not considered a capital felony offense, but mainly of the board agency. But let's hear what 783 has to say. Fines, okay. So usually maybe if they're willingly, they have a second degree and they have a first degree misdemeanor as well. So it could be $1,000 when a conviction of a misdemeanor of the first degree, and $500 when the conviction of a misdemeanor of the second degree of a non-criminal violation. So it's very similar what they're saying. But yeah, so you gotta stick by this. Hey, these laws are legit, no exceptions. So on what they're hiding, if it's highly sensitive, they have to back it up. If they have to go to court, the judge can make that injunction, but they have to have the facts. But based on what I read so far, they are violating the supreme law of Florida Constitution, Article 1, Section 24A, and of course, Florida Statute 286.011. And all you folks out there want to praise DeSantis on this, and you know what? Based on this information, I have to disagree. If I hear the other side, they better back it up, because hey, they have an oath to obey under Article 2, Section 5 of the Florida Constitution. No exceptions. So you know what? The people in Tallahassee need to do themselves a favor. Stick with the program. If not, step down and leave the state of Florida. And that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share us on your social media network. If you have any questions, comments, or something interesting you want to check out, Whatever you do, please send your correspondence with decorum. In addition, I'll leave these footnotes on this episode on my Spreaker page. Once again, thank you for your time. Please always remember that the demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.